Are we in? Yep, now we're in. Guys, what's up? I'm here, and wait a minute, hold on. This thing is already like starting to wait. Actually, we're good, we're good. So, yeah, as you can tell, Legend of Korra, Book 3 discussion, and, last but not least, my discussion and my thoughts on what will happen in Book 4. Now, here's the thing. Yeah, these beautifuls. Whoa. Book 1, to the heart. Book 2, it's debatable. We all know this Book 2 is kind of debatable, but again, this ain't a discussion about these two. It's a discussion about Book 3. And, whoa. I am not gonna... That was... I messed up there. So, let's do a discussion on Legend of Korra, Book 3. And I gotta say, one thing I gotta say in particular, but so far, best book in the series. Best book, best season, whatever you want to call it. Legend of Korra Book 3 Change was the best one in the goddamn series. Why? Why was this the best one? First and foremost, Korra, I mean, Jesus Christ. Such an emotional, I mean, it was the darkest one of the series. You had freaking Zahir. You had Zahir, who wasn't a waterbender like Amon, like Unalaq, and he didn't have a motive. Oh, I want all this power so I can take over the world. No. What I liked about Zahir, in particular, when it came to his character, was pretty much the fact that he wants to change the world in his own vision. It's not like, okay, I'm going to take over the world, and this is and like that. No. It wasn't like this, twirly, mustachy villain that, we're all used to seeing now. What I liked about Zahir is the fact that he wanted to change the monarchy. He wanted a non-monarchy system. All leaders should be taken out. And see, that to me, I was like, oh, shit. Like, because at first I was like, okay, so what's his backstory? Why is he doing all this? And to see the fact that, okay, he wants to do this, I mean, it was already bad enough in the beginning, where he escapes from prison, and then he ends up assembling his friends, and then they cause havoc. I mean, really? These guys are ridiculous. I mean, oh shit. Hold on. Wait, I gotta look at their names. There's Zahir, there's his girlfriend, which, by the way, here's one thing I want to say. If you haven't watched the series, or if you haven't watched Season 3, which, again, I don't see why you guys aren't watching or on this live stream if you haven't seen Book 3, because this is some pretty heavy stuff. Big spoilers. Big, massive spoilers. If you haven't read anything, or watched anything, is the right word to use. So, right now, I'm going to look some stuff up, okay? Because clearly, my mind is going blank right now. As far as characters, aside from Zahir, aside from everyone in Korra standpoint. But hold on, let's get to the characters real quick. Okay, let's get to the characters. Okay, so you got Zahir, you got Minghua, who is the Firebender. Okay, Ghazan, I remember. I remember Ghazan now, the Lava Bender. He was cool. And then you got the oh, the Earth Queen, man. Yo, the Earth Queen. When this bitch showed up, seriously though, when she showed up, I was like, no, because at first, all the episode lists came out. They had the titles. I was like, okay, Earth Queen. Let's see what her character's like. And I'll admit, I hated her character. Her character was such a travesty. Such a travesty her character was. I'm just saying, her character was such a travesty, it's not even funny. Oh no. No, it is not. But what made this series so good, or this book in comparison to Spirits? Because Spirits it wasn't bad, but I know people are kind of mixed about it. You've got one camp where they love spirits, and then you got the other camp where they're just like. But with me, I'm kind of in the middle. It had its good points, and it also had its bad points too. Now, what I liked about the series is that it didn't tackle anything on romance, which was cool. I liked that. Now, okay, yeah, did have some like awkward tension between Mako and Korra, but personally, I didn't mind that. I thought, okay, it made sense, seeing how they were at the end of book 2, and now jumping into book 3. I mean, hey, it makes sense. It's like what I said before. When you have story progression, you gotta make sure that it makes sense. That it's not like, ooh, there, ass pull. No. Let's not get there. Let's not get there, in all honesty. But here's the thing, though. There's one thing I want to say. Korra's character, okay? This is probably the hardest and probably one of her most toughest battles that she's ever come through. Like, yeah, with Amon, she lost her bending, but thanks to Mr. Aang, he was able to, restore her bending again, her 4 elements, and her connection to the Avatar state. And then, at the end of book 2, she lost her connections with the Avatars, but she did get Raava back. Now, in this, physically and emotionally, she's brought into her core. Now, here's what I'm saying to her core. Because the final fight between her and Zahir was insane. Because the venom went through, forcing her to go into the Avatar state. It was going to kill her. Because of the venom that was, spreading through her body. And I gotta say, with what Korra did it was pretty impressive. And she was about to take out Zahir in certain parts. Like, I remember I was getting excited. I was like, oh shit, she's gonna do something. Zahir is about to lose. And she she did end up defeating Zahir, but when she was about to, make that finishing blow, and then she slips, because, Venom starting to take an effect. But what I liked about the season more in particular is the fact that Korra didn't, the villain didn't die. That's the thing. Amon at the end, Noah Talk, he died at the end of book 1. Unalaq died at the end of book 2. Zahir did not. This I thought was actually a really good move on the creator's part. Because had they had gone the same route, was killing off their villain at the end of each season, it's like, what was the point? Like, seriously, what was the point in doing so? Really? There was no point in doing this. I'm just saying. Like, unless it makes sense, then yeah, I get it. But for the most part, it would have just been, because Zahir has a lot more potential. And he still does. Zahir still does have a lot more potential that he can show. Especially with where things are going to get into book 4. Which, from what I've heard, I'm not so sure about this yet. But I've heard this rumor that book 4 is going to start in January. And if it is, then winter, please come soon. I must enjoy the book 4. Lame as it sounds, yeah. But, again, here's one thing I want to talk about. Well, I kind of want to change that. Because it is a book 3 discussion, but there's one thing I've noticed, just to get a little off track here. Book 1 was all about air. Yeah, obviously. Book 2 focused on all the water tribes. Like, there was that whole conflict with the water tribes. So, it's like, okay, so you got book 1, which was on air. Book 2, which focused on water. It's indirectly, that's what it was saying, is like, it indirectly focused on water. Book 3 was on air. Well, not on air, on Earth. Because, Zahir is an earthbender. Most of the stuff in book 3 took place in the Earth Kingdom. So you can arguably say that this book did have Earth elements to it, which is cool. And seeing where the series is going, there's one thing they haven't tackled yet with the series. There's one thing they haven't tackled yet. Fire. That's the thing that I believe they're gonna tackle with Legend of Korra Book 4. And it's gonna deal something in regards to fire. And let me tell you why. We haven't seen the Fire Lord yet, Zuko's daughter. We haven't seen her yet. And see, I was the one who was asking this through Book 3. But Zuko and General Iroh are reunion. Had that happened, I would have been so glad. But here's the thing. As far as what my knowledge goes, because I might have to go back and rewatch the episodes because it's been a while. But from what I noticed, General Iroh did not show up in Book 3. As far as I know, because he did show up in Book 2 in for a couple episodes. Book 1 was the same thing, he didn't show up till the end. But that made sense. I can't deny his presence in Book 1. So Book 1 I loved. Book 2, he shows up for small tiny bits here and there. And Book 3, I don't think he showed up at all. Well, hold on, give me a minute. Let me take a look at that real quick. Since we're on that subject right now, let me take a look. Alright, let me look up General Iroh, because that is... I don't know. I gotta check this out. Did he show up in Book 3? No, he did not. Because I'm looking at his appearances, and he's only showed up in Book 1 and Book 2. So yeah, this fool was missing in Book 3. So at the very least, I expect a Zuko and Iroh scene. It doesn't. I mean, if it's a fight with both of them teaming up, hell, I'm in. That'd be cool. That would be cool. But I just want to see a scene between him and Zuko. Just a nice conversation between the two of them. And yo, if this whole book, the fourth one is gonna focus on fire, which irony because Last Airbender focused on its final book on fire. So I think it's gonna be funny if Book 4 also. I mean, what I mean fire, I don't mean by the element. I just mean fire in general, like the Fire Nation. I mean, let's get real here. Book 1 was all about air, and not just the element of air, but airbenders in general. Book 2 was on the Water Tribe. Book 3 was on the Earth Kingdom. So I feel like it makes sense for Book 3 to focus on the Fire Nation. My personal opinion. Oh, and that's one more thing I do want to mention. I do like the fact that this whole book was about bringing the airbender back. Yo, when Boomy was... Oh, shit. When Boomy was airbending, how many... don't deny this. You guys knew Boomy was going to pull some shit. He was going to. It wasn't oh! It wasn't oh! It was oh, look! I pulled airbending. Like that. No. No. There was a particular reason. Harmonic convergence was the reason why Boomy started airbending. Not only that, we got Kai. Now, Kai was a cool character. Don't get me wrong. Kai was a cool character. He was kind of a brat at first, which, again, is kind of the thing I noticed in Avatar. Some of these characters, I mean, they're brats at first, and then they kind of start building up and becoming these heroes. And I gotta say, the little tease that the creators did by throwing in Jinora and kind of making them a thing. Now they're not a thing, but it is kind of hinted that they do like each other. So to get those kind of hints, I mean, hey, it's cool. I loved it. See, because me, if you guys don't know, I am a shipper. I'll admit, I do ship couples. I mean, the most obvious one being Naruto, of course. And then you got Bleach. And you got, I mean, all part on is done. But moving that aside, I mean, hey, let me just say that. Because Aang and Katara, duh. That made sense, just saying. So, let us talk more about Legend of Korra. And first of all, let me fix my seat real quick. Just because. So, I do like the fact that they focused in on, new airbenders. Opal was cool. I like the fact that they gave Bolin a love interest, and it wasn't one where he ended up ditching at the end. Because if you've noticed, when it comes to Bolan's character, there's always someone that he likes. So let's not forget, book one, he did like Korra, and it went away. Like the moment he saw him and Mako and Korra kissing, and then book two, I mean, hell, who do you like again? I mean, that actress or whatever. But even then, he was like, "Nope." He's like, "Okay, it's a good game for you. Good game. We out. We out." That's literally what Bolan said. He was like, "Okay, we out. I ain't dealing with this crap. No, no, I ain't dealing with this." Personal opinion, at least. And then when it comes to Opal, these two were made for each other. I'm just saying, Bolan and Opal, they were made for each other. Because the minute she showed up and the minute he started falling head over heels for him, the fact that he was trying to act like a stud was funny. Because that's so out of character for Bolan. And even she pointed out, she kind of acts like an audience character. Which, again, what the creators did with the characters this time around was great. And I love the fact that, like Mako and Bolan, and not Bolan, well, yeah, Mako and Bolan too, because they also get the chance to meet their family, and more so, like, like their cousins, their aunts, their uncles, and their grandmother. Let's not forget about that. They also get the chance to meet their grandmother too, and kind of get like a small section focusing on them. And I gotta say, his grandmother was also funny because she thinks Asami's the Avatar, and Mako's like, "Yeah, your girlfriend's pretty cute. Like she's the Avatar's so beautiful." And then Mako's like, "No, there's this one right over here." And like, "Oh, well, you look very muscular." Like that's literally, well, not literally what she said, but take it with a grain of salt because it's been a while since I've seen some of the episodes. But from what I remember, that's what she said. My personal opinion. If I'm wrong, comments. Comments. Just drop them. Drop them and let me know. Just saying. And when it came to Asami, see, what I liked about Asami's character this time around, she wasn't the typical, "Oh, I'm jealous at Korra for, being with Mako," or the fact that when Korra went missing in book 2, like lost her memory and everything, she was the rebound. And like, oh, Mako's like, "Oh, my girlfriend's over here. You come here. Let's have kisses and all that." I mean, ultimately, like, see, that was the big downfall of book 2, was the romance side. The love triangle, they should have just gotten rid of that in book 2. But the fact that they got rid of it in book 3, I liked it. Now, what I also liked about her character is like how much support she's giving for Korra. The fact that, like, both of them were not really used by Mako. Kind of like, they both went out with him, they both knew. But I like the fact, like, like they're having a girl hangout. As weird as that sounds. Because Korra's never really hung out with anyone that's necessarily been a girl, aside from Jinora and Iki, in my personal opinion. But just seeing, like, their relationship, like, grow as friends. And possibly sisters, because there was also this vibe I was getting in book 3, where Asami was supporting Korra, like, throughout the whole book. She supported Korra like a sister. In my personal viewpoint, like, because that's how I viewed it when it came to this book. Both of them were supporting each other like sisters. And especially when Korra was like, "I don't know if I can do this." Because in the other books, she's been reckless. I've noticed that. She was reckless, rebellious, doing things on her own. And she does that in book 3. But there's also, like, a sense of doubt when it comes to Korra. So, when you get to that aspect alone, that's character development right there. Korra hasn't showed, like, this is a lot of mature. Like, not mature. Like, she shows a lot more maturity in book 3 than the regression in book 2. Like, when you get to the end of book 1 and then you see the regression in book 2, I mean, it's so painful. I'm just saying. Well, then again, the studios, they didn't think that they would make a book 2, a book 3, or book 4, because if you guys don't know this, Legend of Korra was only supposed to be 12 episodes. So to see it go on this long is a blessing, my personal opinion. It's a blessing to see the series come where it's at. And if you guys don't know, which I don't know why you guys are living under a rock, but Book 4 is going to be the last and final book to Legend of Korra. Now, they said the last book to Legend of Korra. They didn't say to the final Avatar. They didn't say the final book in Avatar as a whole. Like, what I mean by Avatar, I mean, like, Legend of Korra and The Last Airbender. Now, they're both connected in their own ways. Because if you really need to watch you kind of don't need to watch Last Airbender to jump into Legend of Korra, but it's always good to watch Last Airbender first, just to have like a reference point. That's what I personally tell people when they ask me, like, hey, people are watching Legend of Korra, and they've been telling me to watch Last Airbender, but I don't feel like watching Last Airbender. Not the movie, I'm just saying, because people always tell me this stuff too. But I always tell people, look, just watch the original series first, and then watch Legend of Korra. Because you're going to get, like big characters showing up in Legend of Korra. And why they're important, I mean, it's always good to watch Avatar The Last Airbender just because, there are, like, so many references from that show that you get into this. And I think the studios, they do such a great job at doing that. And overall, like, when it comes to Book 3, the character development's cool, especially with Bolin and his lava bending. Jeez. Bolin and lava bending, okay? Okay, this came out of nowhere, my personal opinion. That's the only thing I have to complain about Book 3. It's like, Bolin, when it came to his lava bending, it did come out of nowhere, but it's not like a complete ass pull, and here's the reason why. Because Lin's sister mentions up that Bolin has a lot of potential. Now, initially we thought that was just it was for metal bending, but no, it was for lava bending. So, for that, I'm just like, okay, so you got something. You got something that's like, alright, fine, whatever. And let's touch upon that too, before I forget. Korra, well, not Korra, Korra, but Lin and Sue. These two characters, the two half-sisters and the two daughters of Talk Bay. The tension between these two characters, I mean, it was pretty ridiculous. I mean, Lin was jealous. You could totally see it in her eyes. And to figure out why, it's because she didn't improve so much of what her younger sister did. And when we get that flashback scene of Toph, like, just telling both of them, and just her, like, ripping apart the crime report. And even Lin questions this, like, Mom, why are you doing this? And she tells her, like, look, if word got out that something, like, that we had, like, a crime report in the family, then the name is going to be bad on me. So when it comes to that aspect alone, I mean, hell, it was great. I loved it. And, I mean, personally, Book 3 has just, like, a lot of aspects. The Lin and Sue subplot, the Asami and Korra subplot, which not as a shipping one, but just like as just them growing as characters and them kind of having like that sisterly vibe to them. That was cool. The Jinora and Kai stuff, which was funny as hell. Even with Bolin, like everything in Book 3 to me was great. Even Zuko. Okay, before we jump into my thoughts for Book 4, because this is going to be the last thing I discuss about Book 3, and if I've missed anything else, let me know now. Because I'm sure I'm bound to miss something when it comes to Book 3. I'm sure I'm bound to miss something. But let's discuss about Book 4, or Book 3 with Zuko. Now, Zuko shows up in, I believe, Episode 2. He shows up in, it's not the first episode. It's not Episode 2. I think it's either Episode 3 or episode 4. Actually, you know what? And I hate being an idiot, guys, but I gotta look this stuff up because it is a live stream after all. And then the Legend of Korra is the topic of the day, or not the topic of the day, but the topic of this live stream. Same thing. It's important for us to look this stuff up. So, let's see here. Zuko doesn't show up until episode 3, which in the season it's episode 3. For book-wise, or for the series, it's episode 29. So he shows up in 29, and I believe he shows up in. Let me see here. Okay, so hold on. Yeah. So he shows up in episode 29. He shows up in episode 30. I mean, aside from the ending, because I know Zuko shows up. Wait, you know what? Let's use the wiki for this. Let's use the wiki. Because I'm sure that's going to tell me something. Definitely. That'll tell me something. Let's go to the appearances, which is going to be book 3 change. Okay, so he shows up in the second episode of book 3. Oh, wait, never mind. Okay, so it's the second episode, the third episode, and the 4th episode. Okay, so he shows up for 6 episodes out of the 13 that we have, which makes up for what I was hoping for. Because Zuko, I thought, was going to play a pretty big part in this book. He did, but I mean, it's kind of a disappointment when it comes to me. Because I mean, being a fan of Zuko, I mean, I kind of expected more. But then again, he did have his shine in the original series. So seeing him as like that support character, hey, I can respect the creator. And I mean, they did give Zuko a moment in this book by itself. They gave him a moment in the beginning, which was cool, my personal opinion. Seeing that, I mean, granted he lost, but just seeing Zuko in action, that was just enough for me. And I think I know what I think I know what it was that I was missing when it comes to book 3. I know. Hold on. Shit. Now I forgot. Whoa. No. I am not doing this. I'm not doing this. I know there's something. I was going to talk about something and then it just slipped. Okay, now I remember. Okay, Guru Lahim. Okay, see, now Guru Lahima kind of does play a part in the book too, and I'm only saying that mainly because of the fact that he's the first Avatar, the only Avatar that could legitly fly, and it's not broken because there is a specific rule that you have to do. You have to let go of all connections. You gotta let go of all connections and become one with the wind. That's really what the term was when it came to flying. Because Zahir does this. And, when this fool pulls it off, I mean, legit, he pulls it off, he's flying, he's like, what's up, bitches? I'm here. With my wind magic. Or air magic. Wind, air, same thing. Same thing. But, yeah. I mean, it was pretty crazy. I can tell you that much. Things were pretty intense. And, again, it's like what I said. It's this book, Change, was dark as shit. And, now I remember. When Gazan, when Melu, and when Zahir, when they were torturing Korra in that in the cave. The one that looks so identical to the, I mean, not identical, but it looks so similar to the cave in Book 2 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Seeing that, now that's some crazy stuff. That's all I'm saying. That was crazy, because you see the effects that it's having on her, and first thing you see is, like, you see Amon's face showing up, you see Unalaq, and then you see Vatu. So in a sense, you kind of do, like, see, because people, what I would recommend is, like, people watch Book 1, because Book 1 is the shit when it comes to Legend of Korra. Book 2, it had its ups and downs. I would kind of say skip it, but after seeing episode 13, or it's episode 12, it's 12 or 13, but seeing those parts, I would say now, just like, I mean, it's, Book 2 is, it's a tough subject. Because I mean, I like Book 2. I don't love it, simply because of, like, the stuff that does happen in the book itself. So, I mean, it's so touchy to talk about, because I like it, but I don't love it. It's kind of like one of those situations. Book 1 I loved. Book 3, Book 3 is actually, no. What I mean by, okay, my bad. Book 3, surprisingly enough, I would have to say Book 3 is better than Book 2. Obviously. And better than Book 1, in my personal opinion. Because Book 1 had some dark elements to it. Let's not be wrong here. With Tarlok and his shit, that was dark. But what you see happening, good guys literally die in this book. No, I mean, granted, the Earth Queen was a bitch, but she still was a good guy. And she died. I'm just saying. And then you had, what's his face? Freaking, Mr. the Suyin's helper. You had him going into, like, the land of the land of the Forgotten, or something like that. It's a weird spot in the spirit world where you fall down and you forget everything. I mean, legitly everything. I mean, he's like wandering around there like crazy. So he's dead now, at least. And I mean, Gazan and Meilu and Zahir's girlfriend, I mean, they're not good guys, but they do die. So I mean, legitly, people do die in this book. Now, granted, Unalaq died and Amon died. And prior to this, I'd have to say Tarlok and Noatok, that was the darkest death. Because clearly, Tarlok, we all know, he put on the glove and blew up the boat with himself and Unalaq. Just saying. And if you're wondering what I'm doing, then I mean, I've got a little bit of the scuffles, but it's not annoying me too much. So, and I mean, besides, if anything, let me put these off to the side. I've got these with me. So, if I have to, I'll have to. Now, when it comes to this, I mean, overall, Book 2 wasn't. I mean, for now, Book 2 is the weakest one in the series. Book 1 is like the second, and now, Book 3 is my top when it comes to Legend of Korra. So, you can expect, and again, see, this shows how much of a fan I am of Legend of Korra. Now, I would have had, the Last Airbender collection too, but that overall in particular is actually, I'm working on that. I'm working on getting the collection for The Last Airbender, because I think they're like $15 now, like all 3 books. So I mean, overall, you can maybe like 40, like close to $50 for all 3. Oh yeah, I'd buy that. I'd buy all 3 of them. Like if it was that, well, plus tax. Yeah, so plus tax, that'd be around 50. So if anything, I'll get I'll get all 3 books of the original series too. And with that comes the conclusion to the book 3 aspect of this live stream. Now we're gonna delve into book 4. And I did mention it up here and there when it came to the discussion parts of book 3. But let us talk about what my thoughts would be on for book 4. Again, I mentioned this up before. I think the focus is going to be on the Fire Nation aspects of the Legend of Korra world. Because we haven't seen that part of... Because look, that part of Legend of Korra we haven't seen yet. We've seen Republic City. We've seen the Air Temples on multiple occasions. We've seen the Water Tribes. And we've seen the Earth Kingdom in, like, as of book 3. The only thing we haven't seen yet the only thing we haven't seen yet is the Fire Nation. That's the only thing we haven't seen in Legend of Korra is the goddamn Fire Nation. I mean, granted, Korra was gonna head there in book 2 before the spirits attacked her, made her lose her memory and such. But yo, see, that was another disappointment I had in book 2 because I was like, oh, we're about to see Zuko's daughter, but that's what my hope is for book 4. So the creators, I'm just saying, you're watching this. If you're watching this right now live, all I gotta say is Zuko's daughter. I'm telling you, Zuko's daughter. Enough said. I mean, look, and I'm sure she's got some connection with Tenzin and Lin, because we know Zuko. At the end, he became good guy. He became, yo, I give my respects to the Avatar Nation. Like, really. He became a part of Team Avatar. So, that's another thing. What connection does Zuko's daughter have to Lin and Tenzin? I mean, granted, because Zuko, Aang, all of Team Avatar, they were friends. I get that. But I want to see what her relationship was like with Tenzin and, with Kai, with Kaya, with Bumi, with Lin. I mean, even with Su Yen. I mean, there's some kind of history regarding that. And I really want to know what that's about. And also, I'm telling you, Zuko and Iroh, I don't care if it's if they have to team up for a fight scene, or if it's just them talking. Those two just have to show up and, I mean, and this has been my complaint for the series so far. General Iroh has kind of been, he's a new character. Like, he is one of the supporting characters, yes. But if book 4 is gonna focus on the Fire Nation aspects of Legend of Korra, General Iroh has got to play a big part. I'm sorry. We get into book 4 and there's no focus on General Iroh. If it is on the Fire Nation aspect, then yo, we out. This fool here, he jumped ship. I'm just saying. Okay, no, I'm not gonna jump ship, but you're gonna leave me very, very unsatisfied. That's all I'm gonna say. You're gonna leave me very unsatisfied with book 4. That's all I want to see. Well, that's not all I want to see, but that's one part I want to see. General Iroh getting a massive focus. Not massive per se, but kind of maybe a similar role to Tenzin, where not where he wants to restore the air, the Fire Nation, because the Fire Nation is fun as it is, but just his role. I kind of want to see his character and his see development with Iroh, and a conversation with him and Zuko, and hey, even a conversation with Iroh and his mom. That'd be cool. Think about it. You have Zuko, you have Zuko's daughter, and you have General Iroh. And actually, that's another thing I want to see. A conversation with those three, too. In, in the room. Where Zuko was scarred. Oh, That's gonna be nostalgic. That'll also be nostalgic for a lot. I mean, a lot of reasons by itself too. A lot of reasons. And now, let's talk about. I mean, regarding the expectations I'm having when it comes to Book 4 and the Fire Nation stuff. Because that's really what I'm thinking because of how the other books have been treated so far. Because we did have some Air Nation focus in Book 2, but we also had some of it in Book 3. But the Earth stuff, that didn't show up until now. And the water trips didn't happen until Book 2, which I feel like I'm repeating. But, again, it is what it is. Now, again, I do want to see some stuff with Zuko's daughter. See some connection that she had with Aang's kid and with Toph's kid or children. Because there has to be something. There has to be something when it comes to that. And this is kind of a theory. I've noticed it with a lot of people. I think Zuko named his daughter Ursa. Why Ursa? Come on, let's be real here. Zuko had a strong connection with his mom. So if Zuko had a daughter, I would imagine that he would name his daughter Ursa. And right now, let me just say this right now. I'm going to go on like a small break. Go use the restroom real quick. So we're going to keep this thing on break mode, and I shall be back. And now I am back. So, we left off with the discussion regarding Book 4 and some of the stuff that I'm expecting if it focuses or has a major focus on the Fire Nation aspect. Now, some other stuff I want to expect from Book 4. Aside from Zuko, aside from his daughter, and aside from Iroh. What I want to see is where Korra's character goes. Because at the end of Book 3, you can clearly see that she's shedding a tear. Because Korra, after Book 3, it's like I said before, she's gone through a lot of shit. And to see where her character's going to go after this is kind of unknown. I'd assume because Zahir did this, maybe she would kind of lose her connection with everyone and have the ability to fly, making her the first Avatar to fly. But I don't think that's what Korra would do, considering where her character is right now. I mean, it's kind of plausible, but at the same time, it's kind of unlikely too because of how her character has been thus far. And I mean, what's gonna happen with Tenzin? What's gonna happen with Bumi? What's gonna happen with Kaya? Some of these things I want to know. And what about Toph? What about Toph? Okay, look. Throughout book 3, I kept thinking, okay, Toph's gonna show up. But she didn't. Toph didn't show up one bit. So I'm hoping, when it comes to book 4, we get something regarding Toph. My personal opinion. And I kind of want, I'm hoping this happens. Maybe Korra gets her, she's able to reconnect with the other past avatars. Because that's another thing I noticed too. She felt useless in this book. Like, in some aspects, you can tell she felt useless because, she was trying to connect with the past avatars, and that didn't work. It was like Korra had to go solo. Like, minus her friends and whatnot, but spiritually wise, she had to go solo. Like, she couldn't get help from anyone. With the exception of, Iroh again, which is cool. But, I mean, overall, that's kind of what I think. Now, to wrap up this live stream, I believe, again, stuff with Zuko, stuff with his daughter, with Iroh, and it's like I said before too, I want to see Iroh have a major focus in book 4. If it does have, Fire Nation aspects to it, because I'm going to call it right now, book 4 is going to focus in on the Fire Nation. My personal opinion, but hey, that is what I believe. And if that's the case, Zuko, his daughter, and Iroh, they're going to need some focus, especially Iroh. Iroh's going to need, big focus. Big, massive focus when it comes to book 4. My personal opinion, at least. And again, where Korra's character goes from here, I have no idea. Whether or not her and Mako get back together is actually kind of an interesting question. Because, again, this book, the third one, doesn't really focus too much on romance. But I think it would be interesting to see where that goes from here on out with book 4. And Bolin, I'm gonna still say he's gonna be a comic relief character, but dear God, he better stay with Opal. I'm just saying, if book 4 starts out and we hear Bolin being like, I broke up with Opal. No, you're gonna see me on rage. I'm just saying, you're gonna see me go on rage mode, and we know what happens when I go on rage mode. It's not a good sign. Me in rage mode is not a good sign. My personal opinion. You know that. Because if you saw my last Summer Adventures episode, then you know it kind of ended off on a sour note. That's something I don't want to ever experience in my life again. Even though I feel like it's going to happen. But it's a life lesson. Just so you know. If stuff like that happens, it happens. Like, there's nothing you can do to avoid it, in my personal opinion. And I've been saying that a lot, especially on this live stream. But, again, I do want to see where stuff goes with Korra and Mako. With her relationship with Asami, because again, there is, that sisterly vibe between those two characters now. How they're going to be there, no matter what, supporting each other along the way. Whether or not Korra and Mako will get back together is kind of up in the air right now. But I do get the feeling he's going to do whatever it takes to be there for her. Because right now, Korra is in a state of hell. She's going to need all the support she can get. So Mako, man up. I don't want to say, man up. Get off your chair. Get off the wheelchair. Off the tricycle. And ride a bike. Well, actually, no. Not a bike. Here's what I'll say. Get off the tricycle. Don't even think. I mean, look. And I know you rode the bicycle, but no. That's not where we are, bro. You must elevate to motorcycle status. Once you do that, then you'll see me with the thumbs up. But for now, you, Mako, I mean, you're impressive, but develop more, is what I'm trying to say. Bolin, you and Opal. I'm just saying, you and Opal need to stay together. My personal opinion, yes. And then when it comes to Jinora, because I realize I haven't mentioned this subject, whether or not she's gonna have her, her bald look at the end of book 3 in the new upcoming book, the final book for Legend of Korra, questionable. It'd be cool, but again, it's like I said before, we have to wait and see. I would hope that she gets her hair back, because her, with that hair, is kind of messed up. But I'm not questioning it. And her and Kai, because I don't think at the end it's confirmed that they're together, but I would like to see that too, just seeing her and Kai get together at the end too. And Zahir is gonna have some focus in book 4. We know that, because some of the Red Lotus members they're scattered now. It's like the Locust in Gears of War. They're together, and then they're like scattered flies, similar to the Cog. They had Prescott. Prescott says we bail, and then you have the Cogs, just all swarming around the planet. So they're like that. They're like roaches and ants. They're running away, and now they're trying to do whatever it takes. My personal opinion. But before I start, and I've been saying that for a while now, 2, again, that's what I expect in book 4. I'll mention it one more time before I end this. Zuko, his daughter, and Iroh, especially you, Iroh, you're going to need major focus. Major focus in book 4. If my theory is right, and book 4 does focus on the Fire Nation aspect, or the Fire Nation aspect in general, I'm just saying, Iroh, you're gonna need to show up, develop. That's all I'm saying, because you've been a support character, and that support's not a bad thing. But I want to know the background behind your character, the relationship you have with your mother, the relationship you have with your uncle. Well, not your uncle. Your grandfather. I want to know, and who the hell is your father? I just want to know that. Who is General Iroh's dad? Because we know his mom's the Fire Lord, but who is the dad? I'm just saying, it's a good question. Again, whereabouts on top, I want to see where that goes. As far as the regular team Avatar goes, I want to see where their characters develop, especially Korra. Mako, again, step up your game, get off the bike, ride the motorcycle, then we'll talk. And as far as Tenzin, Kaya, Lin, and Bumi, where they go, because I'm sure we're going to get Zuko's daughter. And I'm expecting something in regards to them and his daughter, because, hey, their parents were Team Avatar, and it'd be cool to see you kind of see what their connection is to Zuko's daughter too. And with that, I think that's gonna wrap, because the villain in book 4, the creator doesn't mention this, but it's gonna be someone entirely new. We've had 2 books focusing on water benders, and then we had this book on well, he wasn't an earthbender, he was an airbender. So I'm going to assume that the next book is going to be a firebender. I think we're gonna get a firebender villain. My personal opinion, I think the main villain for Book 4 is gonna be a firebender. Yo, that'd be insane. I mean, when was the last time we had a firebender villain? Ozai was the last time we had like a main final villain from the Fire Nation. That would be crazy. But I'm gonna end off this live stream here. What are your thoughts, guys? What did you think of Book 3? Did you think it was the best book that we've gotten so far? What do you think the best book is? And what's your expectations for Book 4? What do you think is going to happen? And do you guys think that Book 4 is going to focus on the Fire Nation aspect? Since that's the only thing we haven't seen yet when it comes to Legend of Korra. And aside from that, guys, Bridget, I'm still Manga. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more stuff, whether it's short films, whether it's trailers, something. And if there's something you want me to review, let me know right now. Just let me know. And just to give you guys a quick update, I am gonna do another DVD and Blu-ray collection because it's been a long time since I've done that, and that will probably be coming up maybe sometime tomorrow, maybe tomorrow night or Sunday morning or Sunday night. I don't know. It will be somewhere within from Saturday to Monday range. It'll be between there. So not entirely sure yet, but you can expect that coming up soon. And with that, guys, I'll see you later.